Good afternoon, Avadhuta Babadanji.
Good afternoon.
What are you going to talk to us about today?
Today I'm going to talk to people about the self, the inner spirit, which for me is the essence, the essentiality of the Spirit of God within everyone, everything. I say the self is full, meaning it's full of its own being, of eternal awareness, power, bliss. It's not that those who think that it's empty, that there are beginning stages of a nullification process. And if they were to go through the process completely, they would find out that the spirit or the Atman is full. The beginning process is a nullification, of wiping out of the ego and the mind of the person. When a person has become permanently established in the self, then they've become one with the self. They have that fullness of the self. Now, why is there need for masters? There's need for masters because God's created them. There are many people on the internet talking about the self who know nothing of what they're talking about. They only know about energy, which is much further down the road from the Atman, from the essentiality of God. God has created masters to jolt people into this sense, which they already have. They already have a sense of something isn't complete in their lives. So the master comes along and says, because the master's mind is permeated by the self, there's never a moment when the self-realized master is not one with the Atman. The person is not in that experience all the time, then they're not a master. The master's always one with the Atman, no matter what he's doing in the world. His physical body is not the Atman. His mind is not the Atman. These permeate in realization the body and the mind of the master. So he's there to tell people the reason why you're dissatisfied is because you haven't become a complete human being. When you've merged in the self, the Atman, then you become complete. Then you become an ordinary human being. A self-realized person is an ordinary human being. He is what God wants us to be. Complete. He now knows that he is established in the ground of eternity, in the being of eternity, which is the Spirit of God, the essentiality of God, the impossibility of this experience is tremendous. It's thousands of years devoted by sages, some of them having partially the experience, some of them having the experience completely. And these different debates have taken thousands of years, from Plato, Christianity, Buddhism, the condition and the sense of what it is. To those who are not established in it, even a person who is sometimes established in it, we call those sixth plane yogis. A person can see the self, the Atman, have some experiences of it and think they're realized. There's many of those in India, but they're not fully established in it. But this state seems impossible, completely and utterly impossible, even to those yogis, even to the ordinary human being. But it is possible. God wants The realized stage is to say, yes, it is possible to be established in the ground of true being, the eternality of true being, which is the essence of God. Once that happens, one is permanently in bliss, and then one accepts one's life, one accepts one's death in the fullness of that experience of the Atman. One is a witness to life, experience, and death. Not rejecting. There's no need for rejection, because life is the completion, is the manifestation of the Spirit of God. It's not about rejecting. The rejection, the detachment is the sadhana. Once a person has realized the self, one realizes there's nothing to reject. One lives a moral, of course, moral life to please God, but the essence permeates. Where can you go where it isn't in life? It's in the mountain caves, it's in the houses, it's in the cinemas, it's in the cars, it's in the ashrams, it's in the monasteries, it's in the streets. It's in the whole experience of life. The renouncement is to renounce immorality and renounce that you're the body, you're the mind, to get to the eternal witness, which is the Spirit of God. That's the renouncement. The renouncement is not to renounce normal life. You can't. Wherever you go, everyone's living normal life. Realization happens in normal life, a normal moral life, a person doing spiritual practice. You see these distortions in these extreme practices, which are distortions. The person does not have to hold one's hand up in the air for 25 years to realize the Atman. The person has to do is love God. The person has to want that experience with their entire being, and then the person gets it, and that is their completion, created by God as a blessing for them.